What's going on, YouTube? This is your friendly neighborhood DraftKings addict, bringing my top picks for Week 5 NFL DFS. All right, guys, so before we get started, if you could do me a favor, drop a like real quick on the video. It really helps out. If you're new to DraftKings addict, don't forget to subscribe before you go. We got NBA around the corner, and we will have a lot of videos coming out for NBA. That's one of my favorite sports. We're almost at the halfway mark for football, right? You know, we're on the first third of it, week 5. We got 16 weeks, so let's get it, guys. So let's go ahead and break down today's slate. If you haven't already, go ahead and give me a follow over on Twitter at DK_addict. I send out some little interesting tweets, and also every now and then I'll send out a lineup or two or some ideas around lineups and see if you guys like it, if you think it's fire or if you think it's ice, aka snowflake. All right, so as we can see, last week's picks video, guys, we had these picks right here. Jones, Eckler, McCaffrey, Cooper Kupp, Disley, and Gallman. And this is the outcome, right? I decided to go with Case Keenum, man, just because he was cheap. He had a good matchup versus New York. But we see how that ended. All right, dude ended up getting benched. All right, and the rookie got a chance to come in and play, and he looked like crap too. You see, they only put up 3 points for Washington. So, anywho, long story short, thankfully my core did really well. McCaffrey, Eckler, which a lot of people played, as you can see, 58.35% went off. Kupp, nice play, 30 DraftKings points. Galladay finally showed up and did his thing, 11% on, 23 DraftKings points. Will Fuller, disappointment. Matter of fact, that whole Houston team, all right, to lose to Carolina without Cam Newton. Come on, man. All right, then, of course, Will Disley was a highly owned guy because he was too cheap playing up against one of the best matchups for a tight end in the league. He put up 18 points, didn't disappoint with his cheap price tag. And, of course, Gallman was the guy that some people was questioning because of his questionable performance in the past when he was the number one guy. But as we can see, he showed up. I believe he had 2 touchdowns, man. 28, one reception touchdown and 1 running touchdown. And, of course, man, what the hell happened to the Ravens, bro? They got blew out by Cleveland. But, again, on defenses, I don't really stress about. As you can see, this lineup ended up getting me somewhere around, I can't remember. God dog it. Yeah, long story short, I cashed in all my lineups, man, because I had that in the majority of my contests, and I played majority cash, and thankfully so, because that easily cashed. One of the contests, I think it was like 800 entries in that particular contest, and I was like number 32. So, yeah, played that core, you're good to go. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it, guys. We've avoided it long enough, so let's go ahead and get into my top picks. So Draft Dashboard is the tool that I use. If you're interested in trying out this software, check out the link in the description of my video. You'll receive a 30-day trial for $1. And again, it includes several sports, NHL, NFL, NBA, and MLB. And also, it's good for DraftKings and Fanduel. Even though I primarily talk about DraftKings, it also works for Fanduel. So, hey, check it out. First thing I always do is I go to my position optimizer. If you don't have time to do a lot of research, you can go over to this NFL cheat sheet, and it'll have a lot of the top plays broken down by their price tags in a certain price class. You know, the higher up price ones, and the mid price, and then of course the value and value tiered. So check it out. All right, next up, quarterback. Let's go ahead and get into that. So right now, I got quite a few quarterbacks I like on this slate. Alrighty, so I'm gonna go ahead and start at the top right here. I actually like Deshaun Watson, man. If you guys seen him after the last game, he came back out on the field and was working with his quarterback coach because he really, I guess, was down about that loss, so he wanted to get back into, to the zone and practicing and getting his stuff together. So I think he has something to prove. He's at home going up against ATL, which we can see is one of the premier, spots for a quarterback because they're ranked 23rd when it comes to defense versus the position. So, again, he's 6.7K. He's kind of had up and down season, right? 13, 30, and 13 in the last 3 games, all right? Got a couple of rushes, but, again, he's been a little bit of a funk. But I like him this week to come out that funk as a low-owned guy that has some upside because, as we know, Deshaun can score with his legs. So, I definitely like Deshaun on this slate. Not my favorite play right now, but I definitely will have a couple spots with him in there. Jameis Winston going up against New Orleans, 6.2K. This guy's been on fire. 33 and 30 in the last 2 games. Tearing it up. All right. And then what happens this week? He gets a great matchup versus New Orleans. All right, one of the best matchups for a quarterback. All right, so I like this game. Hopefully, this game is a high-scoring game where these two guys duke it out. But I like Jameis Winston in his hot Tampa Bay offense, 6.2K. Actually, he's my top quarterback this week, in my opinion. So, hey, next up, Carson Wentz, pretty consistent guy, 22 and 20 in the last 3 games, 6.1K. He gets a decent matchup versus the Jets. Alrighty, I think they're on that third string quarterback. I don't know what's going on with the Jets, but they're lacking on the other side of the ball. But Carson Wentz again has been very consistent at 6.1K, so he's definitely in play for me. Got a little bit of rushing there, a couple rushes there in the last couple of games, so definitely a guy that's pretty consistent. Matt Ryan been doing okay, right? 20, 27, and 25 in the last 3 games, but he's only 5.9K, and he's getting a matchup versus Houston, as we saw in that first game versus New Orleans, where they can get into a little bit of a scoring a matchup with ATL. So I definitely like this game. This is one of my games that I like. Of course, I'm a Houston fan, but not just because of that, just because I believe it's going to be a nice game with Matt Ryan playing in the Dome, even though he's not at home. Hey, so next up, Andy Dalton, man. Okay, yes, the guy's he got his butt kicked last week. 6 points, that was it. But at 5.7K, he gets again one of the premier matchups for a quarterback. Okay, yes, he doesn't have AJ Green. His backfield is inconsistent. Alrighty, but again, the Red Rocket, man, 5.7K in this great spot going up against that Arizona defense that is a great matchup for quarterbacks. I'm going to have him in a few shares of Andy Dalton. All right, would I call him a cash game lock? No, but I do have him because, as we know, he has some upside. We can see he put up 23 and 18. So who knows, man? Got a couple of rushing attempts over the last couple of games, but I will take a couple of shots with my man Andy Dalton. And if you want to really take a flyer, we had a situation where Trubisky went out in that Chicago game, and now this guy Chase Daniel is going to be stepping up, and he has a decent matchup going up against Oakland, all right, who's been favorable to quarterbacks in the past. All right, guy came in when Trubisky went out and put up 12 DraftKings points. All right, so at 4.8K, definitely has some options there if you need to pay down that quarterback and get a real cheap option. So I thought about A-Rod, Aaron Rodgers, this guy here, man. But again, he's hit and miss as well. 15, 13, 31, and he's going up against a decent Dallas offense, even though they didn't look like it last week. But, hey. Yep, so check out the injury news too, guys. We got a lot of players this week that are either questionable or out with nagging injuries. We're getting into the meat of the season, so that's going to happen a lot. These players are getting beat up every day for our entertainment. All right, so just keep your eye on the news. All right, check it out. Tweet on Twitter at DK_addict. If I see any updates on injuries and things like that, I forward them out or retweet them. So at running back, all right, my favorite running back this week, I'm going to be honest, all right, is actually Mr. Dalvin Cook. All right, Mr. Old Reliable. All right, so that team, look at the rushes, man. 14, 16, and 20 rushing attempts in the last 3 games, and he's averaging about 5 targets on the passing side. All right, so this guy's getting work. All right, 31, 27, 19 in the last 3 games. Gets a decent matchup. All right, team defense not that great over there in New York. So definitely like Dalvin Cook. I believe this game is projected to be a pretty lopsided game, which means that Dalvin Cook should get some extra play when it comes to maintaining the clock management. So 8.4K, I like Dalvin Cook. He has a nice safe floor in my opinion. All right, Zeke, man, 8.3K. I guess if you want to pivot from Dalvin Cook, which I think would possibly be a higher on guy, definitely McCaffrey, man. So I'm going to have a couple of shares of McCaffrey. Actually, I'm going to be kind of sprinkling all 3 of these guys, to be honest. But Dalvin Cook is my favorite. All right, of course, everybody loves Christian McCaffrey. The guy is a workhorse for real. 27 rushes in the last game versus Houston. 27. That's insane, bro. This guy is pretty much that Carolina offense, man. All right, 10 passing targets as well. Yeah. Can't deny a guy like that going up against Jacksonville. If they're without their second string quarterback, Minshew, or however you say his name, If they have a third string quarterback in there, then I love Christian McCaffrey even more. Because again, they're probably going to run the ball a lot more because it's going to be a lopsided game. So keep an eye out on that. But yeah, Dalvin Cook. Of course, Zeke Elliott, man, again, he's getting the volume, which means opportunity. Question is, does he get into the end zone? As we can see, 18, 19, and 23. But he's a pretty safe floor guy. Has similar upside, in my opinion, to these three guys on the top. So Zeke is definitely somebody you want to have in your player pool. All right. And David Johnson, prime matchup going up against Cincinnati. All right, 7.5K. This guy, again, gets not get as many rushing targets, but he's also getting work in the passing game. And last I checked, Kirk, the receiver on Arizona, was having some issues with an injury, and he may be out. And if he's out, I see David Johnson getting more work in the passing game, which means more DraftKings points for him and possible TD for him. So definitely I like David Johnson at that 7.5K. Austin Eckler, I'm going to be honest, I still like him, but we got to see what's going on with this whole, with this backfield thing with him. Alrighty, so with him and Mel Gordon. So I want one of those guys, but you don't know how the workload is going to be divvied up, but at 6.7K, I wouldn't go there. I would go with Leonard Fournette, though, at 6.4. But again, I would want to know, is Minshew playing or not? Because that would affect Fournette's upside, I believe, right? Because they may have some struggles when it comes to moving the ball and keeping the game close. But, hey, we'll see. But that's all my running backs. If you come down here, I got Aaron Jones marked off. It looks like he has a tough matchup when it comes to the defensive ranking versus position and everything. But he has opportunity because the guy, his backup, went out last game. Had a pretty nasty hit. And I want to say the dude got, like, stretchered out or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So he doesn't look too good. So keep out on that news. But Aaron Jones is definitely in a spot to get some more touches. Alrighty, because he doesn't have to share the backfield there in Green Bay. So those are my top running backs, with Dalvin Cook being my favorite outside of Christian McCaffrey. So, all right, next up, wide receiver. Like I said, Tampa Bay. I said I love Tampa Bay's offense right now. They're on hot. They're fly. They're on fire. They're blazing. Mike Evans and Godwin are two of the guys that are spearheading that as well. It's like they're taking turns. As we can see, 2 games ago, Mike Evans had 48 DraftKings points. In this last game, Godwin had 44. All right, it's like they flipped on targets too. Last time, Mike Evans had 15. This time, Godwin had 14. So take your pick, flip a coin, which one you want. I would say take Godwin at the discount. All right, but hey, can't go wrong with either one of them in my opinion. All right, so those 2 guys at the top. Of course, Julio Jones going up against my Houston defense. His dash rank is pretty high. All right, matter of fact, let's go ahead and sort this by dash rank. As we see, Mr. Godwin is the top rated receiver this week. All right, next up, Michael Thomas, bro. 6.6K, really? Now I understand he got a, second string quarterback. All right, and Bridgewater throwing the ball, but he's still getting the targets. 9 and 17 in the last 2 games. All right, 16 and 19. Pretty safe floor guy at 6.6K. He's going to get targets. He's going to get catches. He gets a decent matchup versus this Tampa Bay defense. All right, so 6.6K, man, you can't ignore Michael Thomas, man. I would almost, say that he's a cash game lock. I think a lot of people going to have him at that price point. The dude's down to 6.6K. He's probably like an $8,500 wide receiver, but hey, whatever works. Let's get on to it. We already talked about Mike Evans. All right. So, man, that's all I got for my receivers. Ooh. Yeah, that's it. Ooh, let's look at some other guys just for, I guess, some value plays. Sutton did pretty well last time at 4.9K. He's cheap, getting a decent amount of targets. So, Sutton, actually, you know what, man? I'm going to be honest, that Denver offense, I kind of low-key like them going up against the Chargers, man. All right. Also, Allen Robinson. Again, we got the backup quarterback that's starting. So, but Allen Robinson has been getting the targets. All right, putting up okay points at 5.6K, but he gets a great matchup versus Oakland. Tyler Boyd. Let me put him in there. I don't know why I didn't have him watched before the video, but there you go. Mohamed Sanu. Definitely another one that I like too. So Tyler Boyd, just opportunity. He's getting the targets. They don't have a lot of options there on that pass game for Cincinnati. So I believe it's Ross. I can't remember. Isn't Ross having some issues? Yeah, I believe Ross was out, right, with the injury. So that just means more attention to that man, Tyler Boyd, when it comes to the offense, right? Mohamed Sanu, again, if they somehow shut down our main guy, Julio Jones, Mohamed Sanu, as you see, has been picking up some points, man. 12 and 6 targets in the last 2 games, 14 and 18. He's only 4.2K. And to be honest, Mohamed Sanu got some upside, man. This guy can bust out for 28 DraftKings points out of nowhere, and I wouldn't be surprised. So definitely like me some Sanu at 4.2K. I'm not touching that. No, I'm not touching that. Maybe Larry Fitzgerald at 6K against Cincinnati. All right. Again, we said Kirk was possibly going to be out, so that could mean some extra shares and targets for Mr. Fitzgerald at 6K, who's a pretty decent, consistent player. All right, 10, 15, 18 in the last couple of games. You know, so he has a decent floor. So definitely he's a guy you could like. Alshon Jeffrey, definitely somebody you can have on your radar. If I remember correctly, where is he at? Deshaun Jackson, I believe, is still out with that. He had a hamstring, a groin injury or something like that, right? So Alshon Jeffrey might be in for some more targets. He had 9 targets, 13 points last game. All right, gets a decent matchup versus the Jets. All right, cool. Adam Thielen, he's in play every week, in my opinion. All right, but as you can see, last week they didn't do too well. 3 DraftKings points. That's it. 6 targets. All right, but you got the New York Giants you're playing up against, so yeah. So I definitely say I like Thielen at 6.7K. You know, I would rather have someone else up at the top like Godwin or either Michael Thomas. So that means that guy could go under on Thielen and he could have a outstanding game. So definitely different way to look at that one. So those are my receivers that I like right now, guys. Keep it simple. Last but not least, tight end. Now I'm gonna be honest, I had a tough time with tight end this week, man. So if y'all could drop your comments below, who's your favorite tight end on the board and why? I would greatly appreciate it. All right, so as you can see, I have 0 tight ends marked right now because I was really having a hard time deciding on one. Now, if you put a gun to my head and told me to pick one today, I'll probably pick Mr. Olsen. All right, going up against that Jacksonville team. All right, yeah. So, and then next up, Tyler Eifert. Just as far as opportunity goes, again, Arizona is normally a team that you want to attack at the tight end. As you see, they're the worst in the league when it comes to defending the tight end. So, for me, that puts him in play automatically, even though he's 3.3K. But the only problem is he's not getting a lot of targets. Look at that, 5 and 1 in 5. So, take that with a grain of salt. Austin Hooper has been fire the last couple of games with 25 DraftKings points in the last 2 games. His price is up to 4.5K. So, hey. But he got a tough matchup versus Houston, who normally does well versus tight ends. So, hey, Mr. Waller's been going out. He's pretty much a wide receiver. I don't even know why we call him a tight end. But he's in play, in my opinion. Going up against Chicago. Hey, Derek Carr got to throw the ball to somebody, right? And I like Andrews, to be honest. But, you know, he's dealing with that foot injury. But if everything is good to go, no issues, he's going to get his normal share of snaps, which it looked like he was down last week. All right, at 48% of the snaps. But this guy here has definitely had some upsides. We can see 13, 5, and 28 in the last 3 games. But again, to me, of course, Ertz, pretty consistent, right? He's getting his targets, 6K. So Ertz is somebody you can go with, but you're paying up when you're paying 6K for your tight end. So Vance McDonald could be out. Shoulder injury, so we don't know if he's going to play, but he's out. So yeah, so let me know who you like at tight end, guys. So last but not least, at defense, I'm going to tell you my couple of defenses that I like. Definitely like the Patriots, man, but they're 4.3K. So if you can afford to pay up for them, you definitely want to. Again, Washington may be starting a rookie this week, or Case Keenum, who got benched last game and played like a pile of dung. So New England been killing it. 25, 37, and 14 in the last 3 games from your defense. All right. Next up, I like the Vikings versus the Giants. All right, at 3.2K. All right. That Vikings defense is a decent defense, so I like them at 3.2K. Of course, Chicago Bears, man, they got that sack upside. They're going up against Oakland. 17, 21 in the last 2 games from that Chicago defense. All right, so I like them at 3.8K. Coming down here a little further, like I said, in Jacksonville, if Minshew is out and they're playing with their 3rd string quarterback, I'm locking and loading the Panthers at 2.6K. Okay, So keep an eye on that. But right now, the Panthers are my favorite defense right now at that cheap price point. And then dare I say, the Buccaneers going up against New Orleans, they're only 2.2K. All right. At the bottom of the salary when it comes to defenses. And they put up 15, 8, and 9 in the last couple of games. And that salary will open you up to be able to play some higher priced guys in some other spots as opposed to paying $4,400 or $4,300 for the Patriots. So those are all of my favorite plays, guys. So in Draft Dashboard, guys, if you check it out, once you select all your watch players, you can come over here to the lineup optimizer and let Draft Dashboard optimize you a single lineup. And if you have some guys in here that you don't like, that you want to upgrade, let's say Miles Sanders only left $100, but let's say you went up to, who's the running back that we like this week? Let's just say Aaron Jones, right? And we downgraded from Mike Evans instead of, we're going to go with Chris Godwin instead of having both of those guys. We're going to go with one, a cheaper play. So let's say, hypothetically speaking, I want to go with Allen Robinson or, Hollywood Brown right here. So you get the point, guys. So Allen Robinson, so there you go. And I click save lineup. Now that lineup is saved. Now if I want to build more than one lineup, I can click on the mass lineup generator, select all my parameters as far as my unique players and the randomness and everything, and click generate lineups and let Draft Dashboard build you mass lineups that you can download the CSV for either DraftKings or Fanduel and upload those lineups to that contest site of choice. Okay, so cool. Oh, last but not least, too, guys, if you go to your watch, if you sign up with my link in the description of the video and you go to your watch players list, you'll have a tab that says Watch DK Addicts Picks, and whatever players I have in my player pool or my watch list will be loaded into your lineup optimizer and allow you to build lineups with that player pool. Of course, your picks will stay in there as well. It would just add mine on top of yours. So I didn't say those lineups, so I got to go back over. Oh, there they go. Yep, my save lineup. So as you can see, once you run the lineup optimizer, guys, if you go to your save lineups, these are all the lineups that it built. All right, now again, it has the projected points, but as we know, guys, they're just projected points. Like for instance, Mike Evans was projected for 16, and Chris Godwin was projected for 17. And last week he went off for like 38 points. So again, these are all just projections, but again, you can always tweak the lineups to your liking. All right, don't go with just whatever the optimizer says. If something doesn't look right for you, go in there and click optimize, change the lineup as you see fit. All right, and save that lineup, and you go back in there and it will be updated and saved with that new lineup. So all right, guys, so good luck on this week's slate. Again, last week we hit some heat. All right, so let's try to repeat that again this week. If you have any comments, drop them below. But as you can see on the screen, these are my favorite plays: Winston, Cook, DJ, old David Johnson, old reliable. All right, Michael Thomas, too cheap, 6.6K for a guy that's scoring double digits in DraftKings points over the last several weeks. Mohamed Sanu, my flyer of the week. All right, look at that, 18 and 13 in the last couple of games. All right, I think he gives Houston some problems this week. Tyler Eifert, I'm going to go ahead and pay down, take a chance with the cheapo, but as you can see, he's not going to give me 35 DraftKings points. All right, but I may change my mind on Eifert, guys, but right now that's why I have him locked in there. And of course, like I said, I got the Panthers defense locked in, especially if Minshew is out and they're playing a third string quarterback in Jacksonville. I'm locking in the Panthers defense. All right, they got sack upside, and they possibly can get some turnovers if they're playing against a third string quarterback, man. So that leaves you 5,600 for the other two positions. Or if you want to come up at tight end, let's say you don't like Eifert and you want to go with something that's more reliable like Mr. Waller, or let's say, like I said, I talked about Mr. Greg Olsen. All right, so that still leaves you with 5,200 for the other two positions. So you got options, guys. So all right, so good luck on today's this week's slate. All right, if you could drop your comments below, let me know who your favorite players are for this week. All right, peace.